Hello friends, my name is Satali Srikant and thank you so much for coming here. And I'm going to create a complete playlist on JavaScript, guys, from the scratch, complete JavaScript course. So if you are beginner to JavaScript or if you are new to web development field, you can follow along with me. Please consider subscribing. And this is our first video in our playlist, which is introduction to JavaScript. That's nothing but we are discussing some basic fundamental concepts of JavaScript. So here mainly we are going to talk about these four questions, friends. One is what is JavaScript, and second question is why should we use JavaScript, and third question is where and what executes JavaScript code, and the fourth question is why it is called JavaScript. So that's all. These are more than enough for a beginner to get into the JavaScript, and there are a lot more concepts about it, but you learn them by after writing some code. Okay, but before going deep into this, let's discuss or let's talk something about programming languages in general, right? So for that I have one more slide for you. So friends, programming language is of two types. One is low level programming language and the other one is high level programming language. So low level programming language is machine dependent. That's nothing but if you write a program in one operating system, that same program is not going to work on other operating system, not going to be executed in another operating system, because lower level programming language directly deals with the hardware resources, and hardware configuration in these operating system is completely different from hardware configuration in another operating system, right? So for that reason these are machine dependent or platform dependent. And the examples of these machine level low level programming languages are assembly code and machine code, and that's nothing but ones and zeros which are completely understood by the machine itself, and these are machine friendly. That's nothing but as I told you, they're going to be easily understood by the machine itself. So these are the instructions that are directly given to the processor. And the next type is high level programming languages, and high level programming languages are machine independent or platform independent. That's nothing but if you write code in one place or in one operating system, that code is going to be run in any other operating systems, in any other platforms, let's say Mac or Linux or whatever. If you write code once, it can run anywhere. So that's about platform independent or machine independent languages, and the examples are JavaScript, Python and C#. Next, these are human readable. That's nothing but we don't write using ones and zeros. We write our programming language using plain English itself. And one more thing, here it's because it's a high level programming language, we don't need to bother about memory management and hardware resources. That's nothing but in your code you don't directly write by saying processor that you should go and allocate this much of memory to my variable, or you should allocate this much of registry memory to my function, right? You don't write all these low level things in your program. So that's why these are high level programming languages, and the example of that are JavaScript as well as Python. Okay, this is all about programming languages in general. Just in case if you don't have an idea about this, I have explained, and you can leave it if you already know this. And let's go back to our main concept, which is JavaScript. So friends, first question is what is JavaScript? So my first definition is JavaScript is high level programming language, and by now we all know that what is meant by high level programming language. And JavaScript is interpreted programming language. Okay, what is interpreted programming language? I will take a few moments to explain that. So your code is not magic, friends. Directly when you write JavaScript code, processor is going to talk with directly with your code, and it's going to perform that action, right? Someone else has already written a code or written a program, and that program is going to convert your code, whatever the JavaScript code you have written, into machine readable code or machine readable language. Then processor is going to talk with that machine readable language, and then processor is going to execute the actions which are written by us, or tasks which are written by us. So this is how the process works, and that intermediary program or that code by written by someone else is known as interpreter. And we also have one more thing, which is compiler. So compiler is also program, but the difference between this compiler and interpreter is, in case of compiler, compiler compiles the programming language, and then compiler creates an intermediate file and a different file in between, and that file is called as object code or byte code. Are you understanding or not? After that byte code is going to be executed again by the processor. So in case of compilers, an intermediary code is generated, but in case of interpreted programming languages, directly our program is going to be checked line by line, and then directly it's going to be executed. So that's all. An example for compiler programming language is Java. So Java is compiled programming language. Okay, we are done with second definition. And third one is JavaScript is weakly typed programming language or loosely typed or untyped programming language. You will hear this word many times. So that's nothing but, in any programming languages, if you take any other programming languages like Java or Python, you can see that to store any value, we have to explicitly first define that data type. Understand? For example, in case of C, if you want to store a variable 23, I have to write int b equal to 23. With the help of this code, now that Java or Python is going to going to understand that this is 23 is of integer type, and then it will store that value as integer type. But in case of JavaScript, you don't need to explicitly give that data type. You just need to use one keyword called where, which is a variable. In short, we use it as where keyword in JavaScript, and a equal to, a is nothing but variable name, equal to 23. Here, by looking at this, JavaScript is automatically going to decide or judge that this 23 is of integer type, and it will store and will consider this as integer data type value. So that's the power of JavaScript. We don't need to explicitly give all the data types to all the variables which we are initializing in our code or in our programming language. So that's all about weakly typed or untyped programming language. So now we are done with the first question. Now coming to second question, why should we use JavaScript? So guys, if you have learned already HTML and CSS, we all know that with the help of HTML, we can create a web page, right? And with the help of CSS, we can add colors to that web page. We can make it more attractive, look beautiful, right? But what's the use? It's just a static, right? There is no interaction, there is no dynamic nature, or there is no behavior in that, right? So to add the dynamic functionalities, to interact with that HTML tags, to interact with that HTML elements, and to change them, to play with them dynamically in the real time, we use this JavaScript, right? So to make this more simple to you, I'll explain all these three terms with examples. And again, validation. So this very important concept to understand, that is it is nothing but client-side validation. So I'm going to explain that practically. I'll show you that. So I'm opening my Google Chrome. So here I am in my I have opened a YouTube channel, YouTube. So if I click on this dots, you see there is a different section is popping up, and if I click on this, again there is a different a section popped up, and if I click on this, something is going to appear, and again if I click on this, it is disappearing. So all these dynamic actions, whenever I click on something, all these click events, all these dynamic actions are done using JavaScript only. So by looking at this, we can say that it is colorful. It means they have used CSS and it is looking more bright. But by doing all these dynamic things in the web page, we can conclude that it is done using JavaScript. And second one is client-side form validation. So I'm opening my Instagram page, Instagram website, and I'm in my account section. So if you see here, I am entering a mobile number, so I'm giving it some random number like this, and I'm giving full name, some random number again, and I'm giving it a username, and again this is also random, and password also obviously random. So if you observe here, as soon as I'm typing number, I'm getting this into mark, and as soon as I type this full name, I'm getting this tick mark. It means there is some logic behind that, and that is determining what should I write. That is saying whatever I'm writing is correct or not. How is that happening? How it is going to tell right now before going to server? So let's talk about approach first. So what should happen actually is, I have to enter all the form details, and I have to click that sign up button, and this form information should go to the Instagram server, and that Instagram server program should read this data, and that Instagram program server Instagram server will see this, and that program will say, you idiot, you entered all this incorrect information, please again send correct information and send it to me. So like that Instagram server has to talk with me, and again I'll get this incorrect form back to me, and again I'll have to write again correct details, and again I'll have to send it to the server. So this is how the approach should happen. But with the help of JavaScript, what's happening here? Form validation is happening in the client side itself, in the browser itself. So that's the power of JavaScript. So you don't need to enter a form details and send it to the server, and server is going to check them, and all that time waste process is not happening here. At the real time itself, at the spot, on this spot, JavaScript is going to determine or check if I'm entering the correct details or not. So this is going to save a lot of time, and this is going to make web page or web application more faster, right? So this is the best example to explain the importance of JavaScript in the web pages. So and I have also another website. So if I click on this navigation bar, and slowly this is popping up from right side, and if I click on any link, it is disappearing again. So this is some simple website. So this is done using JavaScript only. So this is all about that question which we have discussed. So we are done with 2 questions. We are now we understood that JavaScript provides interaction and dynamic nature to the web pages. Now let's go to third question. Okay, now third question is, where and what executes JavaScript code? So friends, since we are writing JavaScript code, since we are working with JavaScript, we also have to know that what happening behind the scenes, who executing JavaScript and where it is executing JavaScript code and all that things. So there is a program which we call as JavaScript engine. There is a program, and that program is going to execute our JavaScript code. And where does that program is located? If you talk about front end part, that program or that engine, JavaScript engine, is located in the browsers, because browser is the place where JavaScript is executing, where JavaScript is run, right? Okay, if you talk about the server side, we have to talk about something called Node.js that provides a runtime environment or platform to write JavaScript code in the server side, but that's not we have to discuss right now. Let's talk only about front end part. So Google V8 engine, it's not V8. There is a engine called JavaScript engine. It's a program that's executing our JavaScript code. Now we have different browsers. So just like that, each and every browser has their own JavaScript engine, and they have given their different names to that. So that's why I've written all these things. So Google browser has a JavaScript engine called V8, and Internet Explorer has a JavaScript engine which is called Chakra, and Firefox has a JavaScript engine which is called SpiderMonkey. So these are all different JavaScript engines for the different browsers, and these JavaScript engines are going to execute our JavaScript code, whatever we are writing. Okay, and after that, our last question is, why it is called JavaScript? See friends, as I have already told you, we are going to interact with the HTML elements, and we are going to provide some dynamic functionalities, right? So in general, if you talk about a movie, we'll have one script to the actors, right? So actors will read that script, and actors will perform their actions according to that script, right? For example, in the script, if I say to say hello, then the actor is going to say hello. In the same way, JavaScript is going to tell the HTML elements to act differently based upon the user clickings, right? When I click on something else is going to happen. How it is that happening? Because JavaScript is going to tell that HTML element, whenever the user is going to click this, you show this one, you change like this. So like that, JavaScript is going to inform or tell to the HTML elements to act upon the user events. So that's all about script word in the JavaScript. So this is all about JavaScript, guys. This is more than enough for a beginner to get into the code. And there is also a very important concept called ECMAScript, but I'll explain that in the next video. And by now, I hope you understand what is JavaScript and why do we use JavaScript. So if you found this useful, please consider subscribing and give it a like. Thank you so much for watching.